The Gulf states remain in the crosshairs as the Iran versus U.S.-Israeli war nears the one-month mark. In the latest incident, Iran attacked Kuwait International Airport in retaliation for intensifying U.S. and Israeli strikes. According to reports, multiple Iranian drones targeted a fuel tank at the airport, causing a fire. Kuwait's Civil Aviation Authority said initial reports indicate only material damage to the facility, with no casualties reported. Authorities said emergency procedures activated immediately, with firefighting teams and relevant agencies responding to contain the blaze. Efforts are still underway to secure the site and assess the full extent of the damage. Kuwait, which lies just across the Persian Gulf, with about 50 miles of water separating it from Iran at their closest points, has been increasingly impacted by the ongoing conflict. The United States maintains a significant military presence in Kuwait, primarily at Camp Arif Jan, Ali al-Salam Air Base, and Camp Buehring. These bases serve as key logistical hubs for operations in the Middle East. Iran has made it clear that these bases, along with civilian infrastructure, are on its target list in response to what it calls U.S. aggression. On March 23rd, Kuwait said its air defense systems responded to missile and drone attacks, adding that the reported sounds of explosions were caused by intercepting these threats in the sky. Last week, drones targeted an operational unit at Kuwait Petroleum Corporation's Mina Al Ahmadi and Mina Abdallah refineries, causing fires at both sites. The ongoing attacks forced several units of Kuwait's national oil company to shut down. Reports also said Kuwait faced partial blackouts after Iranian drones damaged the country's power infrastructure. 7 overhead transmission lines were taken out of service after falling debris from intercepted missiles and drones hit critical grid locations. Meanwhile, the latest attack came days after Kuwait submitted an official protest to the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, over Iranian attacks targeting the country's airspace and facilities at Kuwait International Airport. In a statement carried by the Kuwait news agency on Sunday, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation said the incidents constituted a blatant breach of international civil aviation conventions, exposing passengers, airlines, and airport personnel to significant risks. It added that the attacks disrupted air traffic, forcing the suspension of all flights and resulting in substantial financial losses to the aviation sector, as well as threats to passenger safety and infrastructure. The authority said the protest outlined the nature of the violations and their impact on aviation safety and security, and called on the ICAO to take necessary measures to protect airspace and civilian facilities and prevent a recurrence in line with international standards. The statement also added that Kuwait reserves its full legal rights to take all necessary actions to safeguard its security, sovereignty, and aviation infrastructure.
The 77th wave of Operation True Promise 4, with the sacred code Ya Haidar Karar, against Zionist enemy targets from north to south of the occupied territories, using Khaybar Shekan missile systems and destructive drones against the criminal terrorist bases of America. The operations targeting Elias Salem, Al-Karj, and Al-Dafra were executed with precision-guided systems, solid-fuel Zulfikar missiles, and destructive drones.
This is no longer a warning. It is a full-blown escalation. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has unleashed its 77th wave of strikes under what it calls Operation True Promise 4. And this time, The firepower is heavier, the messaging even louder. In a statement released Monday, the IRGC confirmed a sweeping barrage targeting Israeli positions across the north, the center, and the south. The weapons of choice include precision-guided Khaibar Shikan missile systems alongside solid-fuel Zulfiqar missile platforms. And it does not stop there. Explosive-laden drones have been deployed in coordinated waves. The IRGC claims the operation was executed with complete success, but the battlefield is no longer limited to Israel. In a dramatic expansion, Iran says it has also targeted U.S. military bases across the region, including Ali al-Salam Air Base in Kuwait, Al-Kharj Air Base in Saudi Arabia, and Al-Dhafra Air Base in the UAE. Precision-guided Zulfiqar missiles paired with kamikaze drones. A clear message. This conflict is widening. And then comes the political strike. The IRGC directly hits out at Donald Trump after he reportedly claimed a pause in attacks on Iran's energy infrastructure. Tehran is not buying it, calling his statements contradictory and dismissing them as psychological warfare. In fact, the IRGC says these tactics have become worn out, ineffective. Instead, it credits Iran's so-called heroic resistance for forcing hesitation in enemy plans, a claim of dominance backed by continued missile launches and growing street support.
The contradictory behavior of America's deceitful president will not make us neglect the war front and the battle with the adversary because the enemy's psychological operations have become threadbare. The heroic steadfastness and resilient resistance of the Iranian nation has led to bewilderment and uncertainty in the strategies and scenarios of the aggressive enemy, and this dignified resistance continues as the key to ultimate victory. The enemy's withdrawals, driven by the steadfast presence of our valiant people in the streets and the relentless continuation of impactful blows from the battlefield, will undoubtedly persist until our ultimate victory is fully realized. By God's will, and victory comes only from Allah, the Almighty, the All-Wise.
The IRGC says rallies across Iran signal unwavering public backing and warns this campaign is far from over. Military operations will continue until what it calls final victory.
The Islamic Revolution Guards Corps, or IRGC, has launched a new wave of retaliatory strikes targeting U.S. and Israeli military infrastructure in a bold escalation. According to the IRGC's Public Relations Department, Monday's attacks marked the 76th wave in Operation True Promise 4, part of Iran's ongoing retaliation against what it calls illegal aggression by the United States and Israel. During the operation, a combination of powerful drones, liquid-fuel Qiyam missiles, and solid-fuel Zulfiqar missiles struck the U.S. 5th Naval Fleet and military bases across the region, including Al-Dhafra, Victoria, and Prince Sultan. The IRGC also targeted Israeli military infrastructure in Tel Aviv, Ashkelon, Haifa, and Gush Dan, employing advanced missiles such as Khaibar Shikan and Qiyam. The elite Iranian force emphasized the effectiveness of the strikes, stating that the missiles and drones, quote, passed through the enemy's advanced air defense systems and successfully hit strategic targets. According to the IRGC, this demonstrates that American and Israeli claims about destroying Iran's missile and naval capabilities are delusional. Meanwhile, the 75th wave of Iranian strikes targeted new Israeli troop deployments and concealed military positions across the occupied Palestinian territories. Ballistic missiles also struck Prince Sultan Air Base in Al-Kharj, Saudi Arabia, a key hub for U.S. operations and anti-Iran aerial missions. Iran's parliament speaker, Mohammad Baghir Ghalibaf, said, quote, "Our people demand complete, humiliating punishment of the aggressors." At the same time, Tehran officially rejected U.S. claims of ongoing talks with Washington, despite media reports suggesting Ghalibaf was a negotiator. The message from Tehran is clear. there will be no negotiation on U.S. terms. Iran intends to end the conflict on its own conditions, signaling a high-stakes standoff that could reshape military and political dynamics across the Middle East. Analysts say the combination of precision strikes, drone warfare, and strategic messaging marks a new phase of Iran's military posture.